Welcome to the Light in You podcast, a place where inner wisdom meets everyday life with your hosts, Beth and Kathy. We're here to help you reconnect to your presence and light and remember your true self. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Light in You podcast. My name is Beth. I am a holistic practitioner living in beautiful New Hampshire in a quiet spot in the area. We're coming into winter right now. And today we're going to touch upon a little bit about what that means. I love to bring people into this place of presence and understanding what it is that's bubbling up within us, right? So we can have more awareness and have more transformations. And here today, I'm with my good friend, Kathy. Take it away.
Hi, everybody. I'm Kathy, also known as the Hippie Mom. I'm an Akashic Records reader, among other things, and I like to help people, bring people to a place of empowerment through information they can access from their Akashic Records because the Akashic Records is, I'll give a little intro. Akashic Records is kind of like the book of your soul. So it's all about you. It's all about the lives that you've lived here on Earth in the past, in the present, and future possibilities. And so, what I like to do is before the podcast, I open the Akashic Records of everyone that's watching the podcast and I channel in a little message. And so, I would like to read that message to you here in a minute. And since Beth mentioned where she was from, I'm from Texas, so it's a little bit warmer here. But the leaves are starting to fall, so at least we get a little bit of fall. All right, so I am going to start the message that I received this morning for the podcast. So, a shift in focus. As you continue forward on your spiritual journey, there will be many times, no matter how long you have been on the path, that you feel you have lost the road beneath your feet. Always remember that it is there, revealing itself step by step. For some, you may feel that you are on a different path altogether. Trust and allow yourself to be guided along the way. Although your human mind will argue different, it is not necessary for you to plan every step. Just keep in mind your destination. And by destination, we do not mean a place, but rather a feeling. What is your ultimate goal for yourself? To live a happy life? To feel peaceful where you are? To find joy in all things? When you place your focus on your feelings, you begin to understand that you have a choice in how you respond, driven by ultimately how you want to feel in your life. This is not to say that your human emotions, other than those on the happy side, should be ignored. There is balance in all things. If something sorrowful happens, allow yourself to feel sorrow without being consumed by it. This will require you to dig into the feeling when you are ready. And here's the example they gave. I feel sorrow because I lost someone important in my life. Why does that make me sad? Because I deeply loved and enjoyed having them in my life. I will choose to remember the happy times that we had together when I feel myself slipping into the sorrow. And they ended by saying, we want you to not lose sight of your power.
Beautiful. Thank you for that, Kathy. I love the messages you bring forth. So, when we do this podcast together, it's pretty fun, right? Because we just allow what is coming through to be brought forth for our beautiful viewers and for ourselves and for the collective, however that is affecting the world, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because we are these little beacons, these antennas, and we are always giving off some sort of vibration. And whenever I tune into what you're bringing forth, it just is so peaceful and so beautiful. And it reminds me how powerful a practice is of tuning within
Mm-hmm.
and allowing this to come forth. And, it took some time, right, for you to be able to polish that skill of bringing forth messages for yourself and others. But we always have that ability, even if we are not a practitioner or haven't practiced. And we always feel better, right, when we're tuning into ourselves. And that's sort of what we're bringing forth today. We're coming into winter, and what that message was talking about is really tuning into our feelings, right? And less about thinking. I love, what's her name? She talks about future tripping. She's lovely. I forget her name, but if we're in the future, we're not present. And so allowing that
Mm.
to really blossom within us brings us those feelings of good, right? Because anxiety is thinking about the future with a negative outcome.
Right.
So thank you very much. It feels
You're
beautiful.
welcome.
So, touching upon that, anything that you want to share about your experience?
So I'll just share that even though I've been doing this for years for myself and other people, still, when I go through and I get that message, there's always that little doubt in my mind, right? Kind of like they said, how your human brain starts to kick in and say, well, maybe this isn't really the message, or maybe, right? But we just have to trust. We just have to trust our feeling, like the first feeling that comes through. Like I remember when I was younger and I would take tests, and I always had hard time taking tests because I would overthink, right? I would write down the answer, but then I would be like, oh wait, is that the answer? And then my brain would try to give me other answers to fill in, right? And so I remember my mom told me, always go with your first answer. Don't change it. Like whatever your first answer is, like just go with that, right? And I feel like intuition and kind of these type of things, we have to do the same. We just have to trust our whatever's dropping in first before our mind kicks in and tries to say, well, what about this? Or what about that? Or right? So that's kind of my thoughts on that.
And there's this shift that happens when we do come into our presence, and we feel it when we're outside, right? If you enjoy being outside, we feel it when we look at a beautiful view or a baby's face or a puppy. It brings us to this place, and part of what's happening is we're actually matching the vibration of those things. Right? So when
Yes.
we tune into something, we're feeling that thing. We're very highly attuned to connecting with others. And sometimes we can get lost in that, right? If someone is in a hard place and we're connecting with them, all of a sudden we may feel their sorrow. And in our world, it's really accepted and encouraged to do that. But as we are moving forward in our consciousness, we're really understanding that having that compassionate place within ourselves is powerful, but also having our own awareness also within us. And there's so many things in life that we have on our path, including the idea of what is my path, that brings our awareness outside of ourselves. But really, it's about staying in tune with ourselves all the time. And my teacher used to call it having a second awareness. So, my first practice in learning how to do this was bring your awareness as you're being in life to your belly, in addition to whatever you're doing. So, I would just have an awareness of my belly while I'm walking around, I'm driving, whatever it is I'm doing for short amounts of time throughout the day. And in a Taoist practice, what that is doing is it's fueling that first center, which is your first dantian, and that's the seat of vitality in your body. It's also grounding our energy. It's allowing our energy to be down in these places where usually when we're thinking so much, that's why we have a lot of health issues. Like
Mhm.
they say, as we age, our energy rises, and as a natural thing occurrence, but also babies aren't thinking about paying the mortgage, right? So they're in more presence. So as we become adults, our energy's going up. And so heart attacks, strokes, all those things are because energy is running too high. So that first practice of having that awareness in the belly is so powerful because you're allowing yourself to have that awareness within you. as you're moving about your day.
Mhm. Yeah, I love that. Yeah, and our body's like a beacon, right? I think you said that. I don't know if you said at the before we started recording or well, once we hit record, but our body, it's like a giant beacon, right? For receiving things like that. So I love that. And also the other thing that was coming through as you were talking was the Akashic Records have said that like the feelings are so powerful. Like if you had a beautiful vacation, right? Like say you went to Hawaii and you just had a beautiful time there and what they have said is if you can get back into the feeling of what like your memories of what it was like there, then you can actually raise your vibration to how you were when you were there. And so they've actually told me, hey, print pictures of like your favorite trips so that when you see that picture, you're actually raising your vibration as you're recalling that memory and getting back into that time. So that can be really helpful. I think it's also, it seems like for like manifesting too, right? Like if you have something that you're trying to manifest, print a picture out of it or put it on your phone screen or somewhere where you can be looking at it because as you're looking at it, it's almost like you're calling in the frequency of that.
Yeah. And you're really training your body to a different vibration because
Hmm.
we become the record of the past, especially if we are in our head about things sometimes, right? So if we're
Right.
working from the physical mind, that is a watchtower of scanning for danger based upon the past. But if we're in all of our bodies, because we're really only supposed to be in that physical mind for parts of our day when we need to think about crossing the road or not touching the stove twice, but our presence is embodying our whole body. And a lot of people, that may sound crazy to them. They're like, what do you mean? My brain is what makes everything work, right? But it's about all parts being online. And yes, it's about bringing those things into our day like pictures to remind us to train our body and our brain to something different. Because otherwise, it's literally going to keep playing that same playbook. Those same
Hmm.
neurons are firing in that same way. And we're going to look for the same feelings that we're used to feeling. That's why
Right.
practicing elevated emotions is so powerful, which a picture would bring up in you, right? Like I'm building a
Hmm.
house right now, thinking about, I just look at my kitchen countertops and cabinets and all the things because I get really excited about picking out colors and envisioning being there. So that creates an elevated emotion, which
Hmm.
is aligning us with those higher outcomes. But it's more about stepping into or becoming what it is. We're becoming by embodying those
Hmm.
feelings.
Hmm. Absolutely.
I think that was a powerful part of that message was to say tuning back into your feelings because that's the basis for everything. We are those little radio frequencies. We're the little tuning forks that allow us to bring in and magnetize what it is we are. We're always manifesting. You're
Right.
always doing it. We're just getting better at it.
And like they said at the end, like they don't want us to lose sight of our power just to feel like because a lot of times especially like the negative emotions and things like that can just feel so consuming, right? And just knowing that we do have the power, like we are not controlled by those emotions, we have the power, we hold the power to shift, right? Being in your presence. And just knowing that, like, okay, I'm feeling sad right now, but I don't have to stay here. I can allow myself to feel that feeling, to look at it, like, why is it coming up? Why do I have this feeling? What is it? And then shifting out of it, allowing yourself to shift. And I think that's the key because a lot of times, you know, we allow ourselves to stay in that emotion that we don't desire, but we are allowing ourselves to stay in it because we're not shifting out. We're not giving ourselves the power to shift out. So,
100%. And the power is always within us. No one is ever making us feel anything. And when we're perceiving something, like, so this is a bottle of lotion. If this bottle of lotion had done something to me, I would have a story about it, right? But the only thing
Mhm.
it's done is make my hands soft and smells real nice. So, so it's a nice thing, right? But
Right.
when we become aware of what we have playing in our head, sometimes things are not so nice. And so what happens is, just like you said earlier, the body doesn't know the difference between being on a beach vacation or having an argument with someone that you love. So whatever we are replaying, our body is actually embodying that and feeling that. So it's setting off a host of stress hormones like cortisol and adrenaline and oxytocin. So we come back and bond. And that flood of chemicals makes us perceive the threat. And because we're working from the limbic brain, it's a loop. So our thoughts continue to create the chemicals that creates the thoughts in our body. It's a continual thing. So when something like that is happening, the best thing to do is name what it is, just like you said,
Mhm.
feeling sad. And if you find it in the body and breathe into that, you're actually embodying and allowing it to be seen, to shift out of it. But it's really powerful because often we don't understand why we feel the way we feel. We
Mhm.
think it's all the things that are currently happening in our life. Very often there is a deeper place where that feeling comes from. And so when we tune in to ourselves, we are allowing that to become known.
Mhm. And those feelings are just energy, right? There's just energy in our body. And, I've had recently several people come in that have had, for a reading and they've had a lot of anxiety and, asking about that. And what their Akashic Records have said is like, when you're feeling that in your body, breathe into it, right? Like, where are you feeling that? Like you said, make yourself aware of where you're feeling that, um, and allowing the breath to come in, fill your body, and then allowing the breath to move that out, right? Move that energy out so that you can replace it with different thoughts, which give you different feelings, right?
Yeah, and what I've found is there's like a balance to all this. So we want to like go in the deep end of the pool and we want to feel our feelings, right? And when we do that, we literally are like, we could say we're removing something from us. I've found that when we're in presence and allowing ourselves to be with it, it actually shifts. Because if we're trying to make something happen, we're here.
Mm,
But if we're still just observing it and being with it, which takes practice, we're not used to it, just being
mhm,
in the body and just feeling it, it will organically shift, maybe to another feeling, maybe to a past memory, maybe something about your life now. But when this happens, you end up shifting. It's almost like it comes to you
mhm. Yeah.
and you become whatever that new feeling is, whether it's peace or neutrality or greater understanding. And then when you pop things in, like a picture of something that you're really psyched about, now you're practicing something new. So you're rewriting new neural pathways in your brain, and your energy knows something different. And that's why I love light work because these patterns in our body are like chaotic energy patterns. And so when we include something like I do sound baths, and it's so beautiful to see the little people like laying down and relaxed and feeling so good. I just feel their bodies
Mhm.
doing this work, which is not work. It's just relaxing and
Right.
allowing flow. And we're bringing in these beautiful sounds and frequencies that are balancing their body. And it's happening. It's just happening for them. And they're allowing it. Right. So then those patterns, whatever they are, of feelings that may feel maybe someone sheds a tear during the sound bath or after the sound bath. That's the evidence, we could say, of something shifting. And when we have a tear, we laugh, we're, releasing the chemical in the
Right.
cell. But but yeah, now that coherence in the body is allowing flow. And then when you have more flow, you walk around. And sure, there's a picture over there that makes you happy, but you start to just look at the tree, and the tree becomes the most beautiful thing you've ever seen. So you're just
Mhm.
like, enjoy about seeing the tree. It's just this beautiful flow. But what is the root of it? Truly are these stuck patterns in the body that aren't allowing that flow.
Mhm.
Then when it starts happening, it's like it has its own inertia.
Right. Mhm. And then you just see all of these things happening in your life, right? Like all of these good things start happening in your life, and you're like, wow. I see how just by shifting that, whatever it was, that one little thing has caused this almost like a ripple effect for other things in your life to can start flowing in.
And because you're training yourself to see them, Tony Robbins has this great thing. He says, look around the room and look at everything that's brown. So you look around and then he says, okay, did you notice anything that was red or tell me something that was red? Of course, you don't remember because you're like
Um,
looking for the brown. I'm like, well, I've got my brown bookcase and my brown shawl. I can tell you all the things that are brown, but then he doesn't ask you that. He asks you for something that's red. Okay, so look around, something that's red, right? And then he's like, well, did you notice that maybe something that wasn't quite red, maybe it was burgundy? We call it red, right? Because
mm,
we're
mhm,
wanting to see that. So
mhm,
when we want to see joy, if we're feeling joy, then we'll be in the line at a grocery store and just look at someone and see the joy in them because we're looking for it.
mhm. Right. It's like when you're like if say you're shopping for a new car and you really want a red car. And then all of a sudden you just see all these red cars on the road, right? Where you didn't notice them before. So I think
Yes,
that's a good example.
exactly. And the more we are in our presence, the more we are out of this place of fight or flight. So it takes 23 to 4 minutes for a male to release all the stress hormones, 26 to 7 minutes for a female. So once your body has come back into homeostasis, now remember, people are in this 70% of their day.
Mm,
Not everyone, but on average. And so when we practice this place of presence, we're not in this place of the watchtower looking for the stuff. We're actually in our inspiration. And maybe it's like, oh, I'm going to go to the coffee shop. And we go to the coffee shop because we're following our presence, that little spark of energy, that good feeling. And then we meet up with a friend that we hadn't seen. And all of a sudden, we're going to do a project together.
hmm
So it's following that feeling rather than sometimes I feel like the physical mind almost feels like a drill sergeant or like a feels very militant almost in terms of um the way it perceives life. Like must do this. Do you feel that way?
Oh yeah, yeah. And I think that's it's built that way for a purpose, right? Not necessarily for today, but for, thousands of years ago when it had to keep us safe from, right, the saber-toothed tigers or whatever, like must stay in your cave, must not go out during this time, right? Or you will be eaten. So I think it just kind of carries over to today, but you're right. It's very much like that. It's the order of things. It's like you have to fit in a box. You have to follow this pattern because that's safe. So to be safe, that's how it works.
Yeah, and I think it's sort of like a choice because the prefrontal cortex was not a part of the human brain when we were like cavemen. So
Mm,
it was a development and now it's the crowning achievement because it allows us access to creative thinking and inspiration and
mm,
problem solving. So we just, it's not even that we had to be that way. Because if you think about it, I live in an area where someone just posted I don't know, I guess it was a bobcat, but it looked like a mountain lion.
mm,
It was a very large animal, right? But
right.
those things are cruising around in our world. But the fact that we have access to all these parts of our brain, I think it's just powerful to understand, holy moly cannoli, if I'm in fight or flight, I'm only working from that place, right?
Right. Yeah.
And so it makes me feel, you could say almost like what is that word, Neanderthal? Like it makes
Mm,
me feel like a caveman or woman.
yeah.
Uh, and it's not bad because that was a simple life, but now we get to do things like create paintings or music or all these things that our spirit wants to bring forth. And it's sort of like, a part of our expression comes through our presence to know. I don't know about you, but like since I've been doing all these practices, I sing in a band, like we're doing this podcast, I write, I'm writing a book. Like there are so many things that I remember I loved when I was a little person, a
Hmm.
child doing that I
Hmm.
actually do now. I actually bring them forth,
Yes.
right? Because I'm connected to this part of me that feels the inspiration coming through.
Hmm.
How powerful.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, it's so magical to start remembering those things and bringing them in back into your life, really. Yep, I see that happening now too.
Yeah, and I think that's the basis of kind of what we were thinking of when we started this podcast is remembering who we are, right? This
Right.
light within us is this light that we see in a child's eyes, a baby's little spirit.
Right.
And it's about understanding our world is a beautiful world, but sometimes we can feel like it puts us into this militant place of, I've got to do the house or the whatever it is that we
Hmm.
think,
Yeah.
but coming back to a little bit more spirited part of us that's within us,
Hmm. Yeah. It's
and whatever
beautiful.
that means for everyone, right? Like, what do you love to do that's really spirited? And what is it that you're?
Me, you're asking me? Oh gosh. Um, Hot seat. I love what I love the most is when I like say I'm just driving. This is like one of my favorite things. It just happens spontaneously. Like say I'm driving, okay? I'm driving. I like to drive, okay? So I don't necessarily like traffic, but I do like to drive. I like to be outside and driving. And my brain's busy, right? My brain's busy worrying about, okay, I got to watch for the other cars. I got to do all this. And that really allows me to be a clear, just receiving information very clearly. And I love, love, love that. Just because it's so inspirational and just like, wow, okay. It's like there's no filter when I'm in that state, right? Because then I'm truly present in that moment, allowing those things to come through because my brain, which normally would be kind of, piping up and saying, oh, hey, this isn't safe, or you shouldn't go on this road, or you shouldn't do that. It's busy, like worrying about everybody else. And I'm just allowing those things to come through. So I don't know if that answers your question, but it just popped in that I love that time just because it's like I'm able to shift and turn off that part, not necessarily turn it off, but it's busy, right? It's like, here's your assignment, go. And then it just is allowing me to receive freely, I guess.
And there's a reason why, like scientifically, that's happening for you. So when we're driving, we're in theta. And theta is a very beautiful place to be because when we're born until age 7, we're in theta. It's how we are programmed to be these little beings. As a hypnotherapist, I put people into theta so that they can put new imprints in their mind, right? Or in their life,
Hmm.
their subconscious. And before we wake up, as we're going to sleep, we are in that same place. So I think this is a beautiful opportunity for me to lead us a little bit in a
Hmm.
practice
Yes.
of
Let's do it.
how to get in there. So of course, we have these neato resources now. You can go on and find some binaural beats that are theta, or look up guided meditations about coming into this place. But it's a slower brainwave. So beta is more thoughts, and theta, alpha's relaxation. Theta is a little bit more of a perceiving. Um, like you probably notice when you wake up, ooh, I had this wonderful idea, right? I had this
Hmm.
really great insight this morning, or something I want to do, right? And so it's because we're in that place that is more in tune. Our brain waves are slower. I
Mhm.
thought about this last night. I had a class and we were talking about theta. I thought, is it because we have more space? Because this beautiful class I was with, I remember being in this place of having so many thoughts, and you can see it like on a person's face of when they're in that place. It's like a prison, right? You can't stop the thoughts.
Mhm.
And we were talking about how when you shift your physiology, and Tony Robbins talks a lot about this. So even if you sit up straighter, taller, you're allowing a greater energetic flow in your body.
Mhm.
Um, and breath is a beautiful pathway, and that's what we're going to do today. As you slow the breath, you're slowing your brain waves down. As you tune into your body, you're doing that same thing because our energy, when we're constantly thinking, is outputting. It's like we're a bank account. We're writing a bunch of these checks to all these things. And if we're upset about something, it's a big check that we're writing. So when we're tuning in, we have less thoughts, less checks. We're in a more peaceful place, or at least neutrality, or whatever it is, because you always feel good. When you tune back in with you, you feel good. You're going to feel it immediately.
Mhm.
So when we're in a shifted place like peace, it just means we're not expending a bunch of energy. We are actually gathering energy.
Mhm.
We're actually in a place, well, that chart back there, we're in our power, just like the reading that you did today. So, all right, let's tune
Mhm.
in. We'll close out our beautiful time together with a little meditation. So if it feels comfy, go ahead and close your eyes. And bringing your awareness to the breath, wherever it's landing in your body, and just inviting that breath to be a little slower. And just saying, I call all of my energy back to me, and feel your energy coming back to you. If there's someone in your head, you can envision that your head is a room and you have these beautiful doorways, and you can just open up one of the doors and invite them to come back out. And just becoming aware of a feeling that you may be experiencing or having. You may have a pain or tightness. You can bring your awareness there and invite the breath to come into that space from the front and back and all sides. And we're going to be with whatever is within us. Keeping our awareness on the breath, allowing it to be the anchor, perhaps allowing it to have a little more length, be a little slower. And just inviting this place of space. Wherever it is in your body, you may feel this opening. It just feels more spacious when you say that. Just seeing light, beautiful light filling that part of your body. And that light just spreads out and up and around and through every part of you and around you like a bubble, charging every cell, balancing every organ. allowing all systems to be working properly and perfectly in your body. And just seeing this beautiful bubble and imbuing it with an intention. So perhaps it's unconditional love, peace, just seeing someone in your life, perhaps later in your day or in your future, as they come in contact with you. They're just feeling this energy that you are, this energy that your bubble is filled with. And just feeling how your body feels. If you're feeling tightness, you can continue to breathe into the space, not trying to do anything other than bringing our awareness and acknowledging being with whatever is. And bringing our awareness down into the earth. You could go a few inches, a few feet, however far you want to go down. It feels good. You can imagine your awareness is like a trunk of a tree, a beam of light, waterfall, whatever feels good. And you can invite anything to flow down there as well. Anything you're feeling ready to release goes down to the earth, transmuting to love. And coming into our hearts, feeling gratitude for being together. If you're listening to this podcast now or in the future, allowing this beautiful, beautiful light that you are to radiate this love and peace and joy within you. And feeling this towards yourself, really feeling this energy within you. And whenever you're ready, we can come back and open our eyes. And as we practice these beautiful practices, we are creating new neural pathways in our brain for calm, for peace. And it's allowing so much more flow in our body. And relaxation is so powerful for that. And we are not really taught to do that much. So just knowing how important and how powerful it is can really allow ourselves to give permission. Sometimes we see that when we're sick, right? Like, oh, I don't feel good. I guess I got to rest. But often our body needs that. But if you give
Mhm.
that to your body and integrate, allow those integrations to happen. And I find I don't get sick much at all, but
Mhm.
it's powerful. So, anyways, thank you, Kathy. Do you
Yes,
want to add
thank you.
anything
That
before?
was beautiful. I'm feeling so just relaxed right now. And so what I want to do, because I feel like this is something that people may want to redo the meditation, right? And so I will mark timestamp that so that if someone just wants to listen to the podcast once and then redo the meditation, then they'll have the timestamp on there because that was beautiful. Thank you, Beth.
Pleasure, pleasure. And if anyone wants to dive in deeper, I do a program called the Presence Technique, an 8-week program. And very often in our group coaching, we go through some meditations similar to that. So
Mhm.
it's a beautiful way to drop something into your life and practice it. Thank you so much, Kathy.
Yeah, thank you. I'll put the link in the show notes for your program too. So,
Have a beautiful rest
okay.
of your day. And everyone, we're sending lots of love out through the universe. Thank you so much for tuning
Yeah. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next time.